to take God's church and destroy them, literally drag them off into prison. Even he says in another part of his testimony later in Acts, he talks about even going into the synagogues. He would go into the synagogues. He would go in there. And so he's on a mission. And he's got the authority to come in and drag these people off. Could you imagine somebody coming in here, and if you didn't recant your faith, they're going to drag you off? I mean, Saul's like the Terminator. And he's on a mission. He's a machine. You're not going to be able to deal with him, to handle him. Now look, and then I want to jump over to chapter 9. I just wanted to give you that brief setup in chapter 8. So now we're going to chapter 9. Look in chapter 9, verse 1. So while the church is scattered, and while Philip and becomes an evangelist and goes in to the regions, and the gospel spreads, the church is spreading out. Look in chapter 9. It says, meanwhile, Saul was still breathing out murderous threats against the Lord's disciples. He had went to the high priest and he had asked for letters to the synagogues in Damascus so that if he found any there who belonged to the way, whether men or women, he might take them as prisoners to Jerusalem. So here is Saul with the authority to arrest, and he's headed to Damascus, which is a town that is north. He's heard that there's a huge church group that's up there. A lot of the disciples have spread out, and many of them have gone to Damascus. So he decides he's going to go, and his mission is going to go up there to destroy them. I love what it says, meanwhile, while he's still breathing murderous threats. Now, when we think of someone breathing, and it says breathing out, literally in the Greek, it actually means to breathe in. Well, of course, you have to breathe out too. But it's like what gives him this big inhale, what he just is soaking up is this hatred of God's church. He's just breathing in. His inspiration to exist is to destroy the church of God. This man who claims to be one who is for the Lord, one who is serving God, the true God, but yet he's breathing in his hatred for the truth of God and his church and what the Holy Spirit has done. So it's like he's breathing out. He's like this fire-breathing Pharisee that is just heaven bent on destroying the church. He's these murderous threats. He lives for this. He can't wait to get up there and try to get them to blaspheme and then to drag them off and stone them or to imprison them, to intimidate them. And he's on his way to destroy that. Notice that it says that he had letters. He had warrants. He had warrants literally for their arrest. We've got a warrant for your arrest. You're coming with us. So he's going to drag them off. And so notice in verse 2 it says, so that if he found any there who belonged to the way. That is the early reference to the church. Remember when Jesus said that he says, I am the way. And you thought that was from The Mandalorian. No. Jesus is the way. This is the way. The way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through him. That's pretty exclusive, is it not? There's not many ways to heaven. There is only one way, and it's through Jesus Christ, the God-man, the mediator. So now they are known as followers of the way. Now, I think this is, to their enemies, this was a sarcastic reference. Just like Christian. They were first called Christians in Antioch. But this wasn't a term of endearment. This was a term of derision.